Alright, this video's about fighting styles. Somebody sent me a question and I want to make a video response about it. He talked about Bruce Lee's interview, alright, and he said when asked what type of fighting style he practices and teaches, he answers Kung Fu. But he also mentions that he doesn't believe in styles or way of fighting or ways of fighting. That we all move the same way as humans, having 2 legs and 2 arms. So saying that, do you agree with him and think these labels are unnecessary? Do you think these styles or labels are similar to social classes that are polarizing, claiming one way is better than the other and vice versa? Is it not a form of competition or ego which we know you're against to create labels to separate from the rest? I'm familiar with that interview, and I've spoken about this in the past in another video, but maybe this person didn't capture that video. But like, I've been inspired by Bruce, but one thing that's clear is that he died over 40 years ago, and I think it was even one of his teachings, and it comes from the East, is that truth can't be set in stone. So things change, times change, and basically I think a lot of what Bruce had to share were like half truths. They're not like the full truth. So, like, you could hold on to his teachings and turn it into a tradition and live by it, but then you're setting your own rules. You're setting your own limitations. And even he would say, use limitation. Use no limitation as limitation. But as far as fighting is concerned, he says 2 arms. There's no such thing as styles and things like that. Like, that's, in a way, that's almost like saying there's no such thing as countries. No such thing as, we're just all living in one world. There's no such thing as countries. But that's not the world that we live in, okay? We live in a world where they separate people, by race, by country, by labels. So you could say that there's no such thing as style, but then automatically, you'll see that the way the world works, it doesn't go according to that. So, like, if we think about styles of fighting, let's just not even talk about humans right now. Let's just talk about animals. There's clearly different animals. You can't say that all animals are the same. Okay? Oh, all animals have 4 legs. They're all the same. No. Like, there's a clear difference between like a lion and a sheep. There's a clear difference between like a lion and like a hyena. Okay, they might have 4 legs, but they're all different. There's a clear difference between like a lion and like an elephant. So there could be like an elephant's way of survival, a lion's way of survival, a sheep's way of survival, a hyena's way of survival, and amongst the same family of cats, the lions are going to be, their survival methods are going to be different than, say, a cheetah or a tiger. Okay? Even amongst the same family, like, there's little differences. So it's almost like saying, okay, there's no such thing as style. It's almost like saying there's no such thing as like different types of food. Like, these ways, these labels are used as a way to kind of be a little more specific in which to, in a way, share creative differences. Like, that's why they'll have such a thing like Chinese food, Italian food, like, American type of food, Mexican food. Like, they'll have different labels to differentiate between like one type of food to another. Okay, so like, I see the truth in what he says. And believe me, I lived it, by analyzing and going deep into his teachings in that manner. But I also see the other side, like other things I could bring up is, okay, 2 arms, 2 legs, but some people out there have missing arms. Some people have missing legs. What about their methods? And another thing is, people's bodies are built differently. Like, you can't say that a man is the same as a woman. They're different. Their bodies are built different. Like a woman, 2 arms, 2 legs, but a woman is a woman and a man is a man. So a woman can she's the only one that can give birth to a child. A man can't. So her fighting method is going to be different. Like, say she's pregnant and she needs to defend herself. It's going to be different, than a man who will never give birth. Other differences, okay, 2 arms, 2 legs, but there's different heights. Say you got somebody, say he's a midget. He's like 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall. Compare him to like somebody that's like 6'7", 6'5". Clearly difference in height. So that difference in height will create a different method, a different style of fighting. So there's different heights, there's different health situations. So somebody might have like a heart condition, or you might have diabetes, or you might have, which is common, they might have asthma. And because of these health complications, it's going to be a different method of fighting compared to somebody has better health. And then, okay, 2 arms, 2 legs, but somebody else could be older person, 80 years old, compared to a 20-year-old. Their fighting methods are going to be different because the age makes the difference. Height makes the difference. Health makes the difference. So, also, people's bodies are built differently. Such a thing called like endomorph, mesomorph, ectomorph. Ectomorph is more of the skinny, thin person, which is kind of like Bruce Lee. Or a mesomorph, which is like a balance of both, which is like the really athletic person, which could be considered Bruce Lee as well. Or it could be the endomorph, which is more of an obese type person. So these different body types will make a different type of fighting. So just like you can't say all running is the same running. So there's going to be the running method of like running, to win a 100-meter dash. There's going to be the running method to win like the 1 mile run. There's going to be a running method to win the marathon. Different running methods for different types of running. So different body types will influence a different way of fighting. So an endomorph might want to take up judo because judo is more about throwing, using their weight to their advantage. But an ectomorph or a mesomorph might fight more like a boxer, like to be on his feet and punch and move. But even boxers have different fighting methods. Some, boxers are like Mayweather, who likes to be more defensive, and the other boxers are more aggressive, like Mike Tyson. Just like going in there and finishing them off as soon as possible. So that is a different fighting method. So there's different fighting methods, and they're not meant to set people apart. People set themselves apart through just nature. Like, we're not all born equal. We're not. We never have, we never will be. We're just all born unique. So it's not that everybody's born to be 6 feet tall. No. Some people aren't even born with 2 arms and 2 legs. Some people might be born with missing limbs. Some people are born with Down syndrome. So there could be a fighting method for people that are disabled, opposed to the people that aren't disabled. Even height differentiations can be considered a disability in some people's eyes. Some people actually view it that way, that this person is short, so he's considered disabled. So there's going to be a different method. Just like in basketball, there's different positions. Not everybody's playing the same position. Not everybody's a point guard. Not everybody's a center. There's a center position. There's a power forward. There's a forward. There's a shooting guard. There's a point guard. Every position is different, and everybody has a different style as far as what fits best for them. Just like there's different styles, different shoes, different styles of music, different styles of dress. There's styles in everything, not just the martial arts, but everything. There's a style. Bruce Lee had a style, his own style. So people are born unique. Some people are born with asthma, and then that changes their method. Some people are born stronger. Some people are born taller. So these styles, these systems, in a way, they're created as like specialties. Because no one business can satisfy desires for everybody. You can't have one restaurant and be like, all right, we serve every single food known to be ever made in mankind. No, every single business will need to specialize in something in order to market their product or their service to the people. You can't have like somebody say, okay, I do massage, I do acupuncture. We also like licensed dentists. We'll work in your teeth. We're also doctors, and we'll do brain surgery. We'll do heart surgery here. We'll do fitness training. We'll do yoga. We'll do Pilates. We'll also help you get your master's degree, your PhD over here. It's like you can't have one business satisfy every single need that's possible in human desires. So every single business will need to focus on something. So these styles have just chosen what to focus on. Boxing is focused on punching in the boxing ring with boxing gloves under boxing rules. Judo is focused more on throwing techniques. Taekwondo is focused more on kicking techniques. Aikido is more focused on just maybe joint locking techniques and evasion, defensive. You got Bruce Lee. He's focused more on just the efficiency, simplicity, like the science of of combat with sparring, like just basically efficiency. The way of the intercepting fist is basically, his was more about really good at sparring, to be really good at sparring, but none of his books, and you don't see him ever holding a firearm in any of his movies. He doesn't teach him firearm tactics. But he also died a lot unexpectedly. So his art was not finished, like in its process of being shared to be more comprehensive. He just maybe had just one book on where it just shares about his fitness regimen. But he didn't have time to expand upon making his art more complete. It can't ever be complete, but it could have been more complete. So he didn't really, it's just not enough time to make his art more comprehensive. He tried to basically he tried to give you a little bit of everything. In his teachings, you'll find boxing. In his teachings, you'll find teachings on fencing. In his teachings, you'll find teachings on Wing Chun, teachings on Chole Phut, teachings on, in his movies, you'll see him use the nunchucks. You'll see him use double sticks. You'll see him use a bow staff. You see a lot of different things, a little bit of everything, in a way. Even showed you a little bit about meditation. So everybody else usually would specialize in one thing. His thing was more about sharing everything of which he was exposed to that he felt was the most useful for him. But that's for him. It's not necessarily for you, because you and him are different. So he had a different fingerprint than you. More than likely, he weighed a different weight than you. More than likely, he was a different height than you. More than likely, he would think differently than you. He was different. You are different. So he was essentially teaching you to be yourself. And when you become yourself, when you are yourself, then in a way you are liberating yourself from being confined to these styles. But it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Like, styles exist because the style is trying to find a market niche to draw people into practicing this way. You have to market somehow. Like, every single business needs a name. You can't open a business and be like, there's no name to the business. No, you have to choose a name. That name in itself is already going to impose a way, a style, a method. Okay, so it has to start somewhere, but it doesn't mean that it's limited to that. So the style of Tai Chi might be developed more for the older people that are not so much about competition. They're more about meditation. So there's going to be different styles developed to accommodate people with different needs. You cannot say that every man is going to be the same as every woman. Every old person is going to be the same as every young person. Like, when you got a single individual that has a comprehensive understanding of the martial arts or wushu, he could bring the teachings to each individual directly. If it's a private lesson, then hey, this hour is more of a Tai Chi based training. The next hour is more of a boxing type of training. The next hour is more of kickboxing. The next hour after that is like a firearms. Next hour after that, then it's like nunchuck training. Hour after that, then it might be more of taekwondo type of style training. Like, every hour could change based on the demand of the individual that wants to learn. Because not everybody wants to learn everything. Not everybody even has the time to learn everything. A lot of people out there want to choose something to learn to focus their energies on because they would rather get good at one thing than to be horrible at 100 things. Like a jack of all trades. It's like some people want to be focused with their energy. They don't want to just do everything. They don't have the time, they don't have the motivation, they don't have the drive. So they want to choose. And that's what these styles are there for, is for the people to choose. But to have a unique individual, a single individual like a Bruce Lee, kind of representing like, hey, you know, we're not going to choose, but we're just going to go with the flow. That can only happen on a living basis as far as a business is concerned. Like if he's living and he's running Jeet Kune Do, then that's fine. He's changing with change. But because he's not living, he's dead. The style is dead. It's not living anymore. So then now, the individual could practice at home and basically train in everything if he wants and just basically be living and representing. But as soon as you open up a business, as soon as you try to mass promote or promote to the people about what you're doing and what you have to share, you immediately end up getting confined to having to choose as a foundation of where you're going to start from in order to grow from. And then you're going to get categorized into a certain style. So Bruce Lee and his methods is considered Chinese Kung Fu or Wushu or Chinese martial arts. And in his movies, not even in one movie was Jeet Kune Do ever mentioned. But in one of the movies, they mentioned that he practices Chinese martial arts. Not Japanese martial arts. Not American kickboxing. Not American boxing. Not Thai boxing. Not Taekwondo. But they said the Chinese martial arts, and that was in his movie. So that's the foundation. And then he gets categorized into that style. So it's like somebody that's trying to claim, I don't believe in race. I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm not Asian, I'm just a human being. And that's what you would claim too. But if you forced him to choose, or not to choose, but force him to look into his history and to say, where were you born? Where did you live? Then he would have to use language to communicate that. And then he would have to use the identifiers, the language, to state that he was born in the US, raised in Hong Kong. And where were his parents raised? Where were his parents born? And then he would have to state that. And then it would lead back to China, to Hong Kong. So it would be nice to live in a world where there's no race, there's no style, there's no religion. Everything's just one, but it's not. Like, that's more of a deep spiritual understanding. But as far as communicating to the world is concerned, people don't understand silence. And you have to, in a way, do your best to communicate to them through language, to at least get them a glimpse of the truth by using this language. So every creator of any system, of any method, of any art, they're going to pretty much revolve their creations, around their own understanding, their life situations, and their body makeup. And their expression will change through time. Like Mayweather, for example, I saw some videos earlier on his boxing career. He was very high energy and punching a lot. But then as he aged, he became more defensive. So it's almost like when he was younger, it was almost like Jeet Kune, and then when he gets older, it becomes more like Tai Chi. So people change. Your expression will change through time. Basically, your style will change. And, it's all based on your life situation at that moment. How you're feeling, your athleticism, your health. Like, you're changing. And essentially, one of the key teachings is teaching people how to learn to adapt to change. But any person that wishes to teach the martial arts will always fall into the trap of having to use language to communicate what he does. And as soon as he does that, he already becomes categorized. So that's all I gotta say about that one.